episode 539 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering, whether you are ready or you are not.
Ready or not, here we come. I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And on today's episode, we're talking about getting out the hammer.
The ban hammer.
That's right.
Wow. How much does a hammer weigh? That's not a real question. There's so many kinds.
There's so many kinds of hammers.
There's so many kinds of hammers.
What kind of hammer is the ban hammer? Truly in Magic.
Okay,
you know?
That's the thing is when we started saying hammer, talking about the ban hammer, I definitely started picturing like Thor's hammer.
Sure,
which is why
that's
I was
very
thinking
dramatic.
about like how much does a hammer weigh? Thor's hammer. Infinite?
Infinitely heavy.
Thor's hammer is infinitely heavy unless you are worthy, in which case it has no weight.
And then it doesn't weigh anything.
And then it's normal hammer? Okay, how heavy does Thor feel his hammer is?
How heavy is Thor's hammer? Oh, wow. I'm not the first person to ask this question.
Of course you're not.
This cannot be right. But when you Google it, everybody, what comes up is 42.3 pounds.
So specific. Wait, you're telling me that unworthy people can't pick up 42.3 pounds?
That is very funny. Okay. So I imagine the kind of hammer you hit trying to ring the bell at a carnival game.
Oh yeah, like a mallet.
Like a mallet.
I consider that a mallet.
Yeah. The band mallet. Well, the point is, everybody.
There's some cards that we are hoping to say goodbye to next week.
Yes, there's going to be a BNR announcement next Monday.
And so we are going to speculate wildly.
And
unwildly. We're going to speculate moderately.
Because we also want to talk to you about the new standard rotation. We talked about a little bit last week. This week we have a whole bunch more details about how it's going to work and whether we think this is going to be a good thing for Magic standard philosophy moving forward. So we're going to talk about bans. They're coming up. We're going to talk about what it means for standard to be a 3-year environment and the way that they're approaching those bans.
Yeah, we're going to play some Flavor Text Theater. With a little March of the Machine draft boosty.
Hot off the heels of a Flavor Text Theater triumph at MagicCon Minneapolis.
That's right.
Where we had some
triumph for
excellent
everyone involved, but
pitches.
specifically for Ben Wheeler.
Yeah, he did great.
A triumph for all, but a triumph for Ben.
I talked about his movie pitch to people who don't play Magic.
Great.
I was like, this is a great movie pitch.
It was a really good pun.
If you want to watch it, you can check it out on Wizards' YouTube channel. You can find our panel there and find out the movie that Ben made off of the card.
All we can tell you is it stars Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, it does star Keanu Reeves. The card was, what was it?
Botanical Brawler.
How does that star Keanu Reeves?
You'll find out. I guarantee you that you cannot guess what his pitch is.
You can't guess it. Do you think you can guess it? You can't.
You cannot.
So we're going to do that today. And we're getting ready for the Lord of the Rings announcement too.
Yeah.
Which is coming up next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/magic. It's a big kickoff of that new set. So we're going to talk all about that next week, of course. But I'm just feeling it and getting prepped in my bones, ready for it this week.
Oh, your bones.
My bones are getting ready.
Ye bones are getting ready.
Absolutely.
But before we do any of that, we have people to thank, and first and foremost amongst them are you, the patrons of this show. Thank you specifically to new patron Crystal Lynn. Crystal Lynn, this episode is yours.
Yours personally, signed, sealed, and delivered to Crystal Lynn.
Exactly. Are you a crystalline giant? Because you have the possibility to have
so
every
many
power.
Abilities.
You have every ability.
Wow, you have
specifically
lifelink and
the ability to keep this podcast going.
Yeah, that's one of Crystalline. Did you know Crystalline Giants?
That's one of the counters that you can put on Crystalline Giant.
Yeah.
Put from a
keep this podcast going.
You can give a random +1/+1 counter, flying counter, vigilance counter, keep this podcast on the air counter.
If you want to keep this podcast on the air and become your own Crystalline Giant, you can by going to patreon.com/GLHF Becoming a patron, getting access to our sweet Discord server and other cool perks based on your donation level. We'd love to have you join the family, and just like Crystalline. So thank you, Crystalline. This episode is for you. We'll dedicate an episode to you if you become a new patron or increase your pledge before our next episode.
Thank you as well.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
To Card Kingdom.
I was just showing Meghan on my computer.
Cardkingdom.com/GLHF. If you go there, it will say May 19th through 21st, spring sale.
But it's the 22nd today.
Oh, well.
Well, they didn't take it down.
They didn't take it down, so.
Maybe it's still there.
Knock yourself out. I can still click on buttons that say 25% off. And 45% off. Phyrexia All Will Be One booster packs. 45% off.
Okay,
I don't know.
They're not anymore. I clicked on it. Never mind.
Well, do you know what? Keep cardkingdom.com/GLHF a regular entry in your browser, and you will find out about a sale.
You won't miss the sale like we just did. Sorry about, we got you all excited for a sale.
The great news is they always have great stuff going on.
That is very true.
It will not be the only Card Kingdom sale.
Look to the future. You know what I mean? Look to the future.
Not to the past.
Not to the past. They've got everything. They've got singles. You can trade in your cards for an increased dollar amount for buying new cards on their site. They've got great merch like backpacks and pins. They have deck boxes, binders, all of that kind of stuff.
Sick.
And certified graded cards too. I'm just going to click on that because I just want to see some sweet alpha cards here.
Wow.
Ooh, an alpha clone. How much do you think an alpha demonic tutor is going for these days?
A demonic tutor?
Yep.
I have no idea. I guess they probably, these days, due to inflation, they probably need like 2 to 3 souls.
Yeah. This one currently costs a couple souls as it's going for $1,800.
$1,800. That's not so bad when you consider that usually having a demonic tutor is the cost of 1 to 2 souls.
1 to 2 souls. Yeah. So Card Kingdom, sweet deal on souls.
Wait, on demonic tutors?
Yeah.
Not at the cost of your soul.
Not at the cost.
Simple dollar costs these days.
You can check them out on the internet at cardkingdom.com/GLHF.
All right, it is time for the randomizer.
We've gone to scryfall.com, hit the random card button, and we're about to show off some art and see if we can guess the card.
All right, Maria, are you ready for yours?
So ready. What? This is fabulous. I love how much
really
fabulous art
this is really good.
Find in this segment. What I'm looking at is, what would you call that? A griffin? No.
It's like a dragon, but it's in the ocean.
A snake dragon? This is like a Yorion before Yorion's time.
It is a little Yorion-esque.
It looks Yorion-like in that it's a snake dragon serpent situation, and it's in the ocean. And it's like flying through a giant tidal wave over an orange-colored sky background.
And it's yelling.
It's yelling. Its mouth is open, and he's going...
Sticking out his tongue big time as he yells.
This is very cute.
It's super cute.
I'm going to call this... Sea Serpent Drake.
Okay.
Is that a card? And it's a 2/3 flyer where you can pay a single mana to boost its toughness but lower its power.
Wow. Ooh, weird.
Strange.
Maria, this is Spindrift Drake.
Wow, it was a Drake.
Yeah, it was a Drake.
I guess I know my Drakes better than I thought.
Creature Drake flying. It's a single blue. During your upkeep, pay blue or sacrifice Spindrift Drake.
Oh.
And it's a 2/1.
Wow. It has cumulative, well, not cumulative, but it has
just like, pay blue. Always upkeep. Single blue for a 2/1 flyer, though.
No, I will pay that. What is this from?
This is from Stronghold.
Wow, that's a cool card.
Yeah.
I actually really like that. The fact that it forces you to pay.
Yeah. Sea brine for blood, washing foam for laughter.
What does that mean?
It's flavored. I don't know.
I have that on a sign above my kitchen.
Sea brine for blood. just sea brine for blood.
Some people have live, laugh, love. I have a weird thing about sea brine. Okay, you ready for your art?
Yeah.
Get ready.
Wow. Okay. There is a tower, a castle
love this art.
that rises out of a lake.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a swamp. It doesn't look
that's
great
pretty
there.
swampy.
It's pretty swampy. And in the background there are mountains. And it's like on a big cliff, obviously, with the tower at the top. But overlaid over all of this is the gigantic face of a sorceress. She is looking over, like, it's almost as if she's peering over the mountains, but really it's more like a celestial image of her is peering over these mountains. This is a weird one. This is... okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this is Sorcerer's Stronghold.
Oh, very good.
Is my name for this particular card. It's going to be a 1 and a black for a sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices a land unless they pay 3 life, and it has retrace, so you can cast it from your graveyard by discarding a land card and paying its mana cost.
Very good guess. This art is truly one of the greats, I think, that we've ever seen. It's
really good.
What if I was to tell you the name of this card was Princess Lucreza?
I would be shocked.
Yes, everyone, this is a card from Legends. It costs 3 blue, black for legendary creature, human wizard. Tap, add blue to your mana pool. She's a 5/4.
This card sure does exist.
Wow, I thought you liked your ramp on a 1/1 green elf. Wrong. No.
I would like a 6 mana 5/4 that taps for a single blue. Thank you so much.
Thanks, I'm good. You can keep your Llanowar elves or whatever.
I think what is weirdest to me is that she is so celestial that this looks like a land.
It does look like a land. You're right.
Like
she's an afterthought,
or like not a land, but like the focus is not her. The focus is that tower and the swamp that it is in.
And the way she's glaring is truly horrifying.
Yes, it is very.
I don't know what she's staring at. But whatever it is not going to have a good day.
Great art.
A+ art by Edward P. Beard Jr. on Princess Lucreza. What a joy for a mana dork that is 5/4 and costs 6 mana.
I have 6 mana, but I just really need to get to 7 or 8.
Once I get to 7, you're done for.
You're done for. All right, Maria.
Yes.
With the big Lord of the Rings set coming out next week, it is time to make some completely unfounded predictions.
Let's do it.
Let's divorce ourselves from the reality of what will happen and speculate wildly.
I would love to live in speculation world. Seems like a fun place.
I'm going to challenge us each to come up with one mechanic for Lord of the Rings and one card for Lord of the Rings.
Okay, great.
So, all right. Hit me.
All right.
What's a mechanic that you are making up for the Lord of the Rings set?
This is what I predict will be in the Lord of the Rings set. Is there a mechanic already called Battle Mastery?
I don't think so.
Okay. I don't know why that's ringing a bell.
I think Spell Mastery is a thing.
Maybe that's where I'm thinking of it. Battle Mastery. Is it a card? It is a card.
Okay.
So that's why I thought of it. So it can't be called that. That's from all the way back from Lorwyn. Wow. Mm-hmm. Battle Mastery. It's something... You can think of a different name for it.
Yeah.
But what it is if your creature attacks and deals combat to a player 2 times in a game, it has unlocked its mastery in battle, and it gets a bonus of some kind.
Oh, all right.
So it has to do face damage.
Yeah.
So this is representing all of the creatures and people across the land who do battle over the course of the Lord of the Rings. And if they manage to get you in the face a couple of times, they've achieved their goal.
That's what they say. If you get a couple of people in the face while you're fighting them, you become a battle master.
That's where you're always
That's
aiming.
how battle mastery works.
They say aim for the face.
Aim for the face. You know what always gets them? The face.
So what should it be called instead of Battle Mastery?
I like Battle Mastery.
But it can't be called that because that's in the card name. Call it
Warcraft. Wait. I feel like that is already a word used somewhere.
Well, in the world of Warcraft. Battlecraft. How about that?
Yeah, Battlecraft.
Battlecraft.
Great.
All right, great.
Okay, here's my mechanic.
Great.
It's called Forge.
Ooh, nice. That's a better word.
How Kaldheim had the equipments that you could pay more when they came into play and they got a creature?
Yes.
It is similar to that, but it is creatures that when they enter the battlefield,
you can pay to give them a sword.
You pay an extra cost and they create an artifact or like an equipment that is unique to that card only.
That is incredible.
Like, right, if you think about it, there could be a version of like elves that make bows or whatever.
Exactly. Yes.
Like a wizard.
Dwarves make their hammers.
Exactly. Dwarves make hammers. Like like wizards make staffs.
Fireworks.
I was gonna say wizards make staffs. And so it's like literally it's like, if you have Saruman, it's like 3 and a black for Saruman, and when he ETBs, you can pay
the kicker
3 and a black. Exactly. It's essentially a kicker. And it's like if you play 3 and a black, create the Staff of Saruman, and then the Staff of Saruman is like a token that has an ability.
And maybe you can also cast it as just that part of it. It's just the forge.
As just the forge?
So you just get
so
the
it's
equipment.
Just the weapon?
Oh my God. We've made a real thing, I think.
Like, come on. Hear me out. The mechanic I just invented is a freaking sick mechanic, man.
If that's not in this set, now I'm upset. Because that's really good. And it is completely flavorful.
Right?
And it's like an adventure, but it's a part of an adventure that hasn't been explored yet, which is equipment plus creature.
Yeah.
And unique equipment. I like that too.
So,
you're not just making a random +1/+0. You're making Saruman's staff.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe common creatures can have just like some kind of like regular equipment that's like a regular sword that gives +2/+1. But also, if you have legendary creatures, they can make a legendary equipment.
I love it. Hold on. We need to call Wizards and go back in time and make sure they print this in the set.
Hi, Mark. I just had a quick. Just one quick thought. Sorry. Hold on.
Okay, so definitely happening in the set is Forge, and also definitely happening is whatever the heck I called my mechanic. Battlecraft. Which I think is fun because it reminds me of other, like, we encourage you to attack mechanics, but specifically we encourage you to attack face mechanics. Like, don't attack that planeswalker if you want that Battlecraft bonus.
Yes.
Go face or go home. Okay, let's talk about cards. We're going to make some cards. I've made a card already on the show.
Yeah.
But we didn't really flesh it out, so I'm going to finish it.
Tell us about it.
Which is Second Breakfast.
Okay.
Which, if this isn't a card in the set, I am literally going to riot games and having them printed in some set. Okay. It's called Second Breakfast. You make 2 food tokens. It costs 3 and a green. And when you play it, you gain a life for each food token you control.
Great.
That's what it is.
Clean.
And if it's not in the set,
flavorful.
I truly don't know what to say.
If there's not a Second Breakfast card, it's going to be absolutely absurd.
I'm really
I
got a little nervous because we've already previewed some stuff, and I'm like, they didn't preview Second Breakfast. Maybe it's not there.
It's going to be there. It's going to be there.
It's going to be there. It's going to be there.
Yeah.
Calm down. All right. What's your card?
Mines of Moria.
Ooh, love it.
It is a land. Of course, it's a colorless land.
I feel like it's got to be in the set.
Right. I feel like it has to be. You can pay 2 and tap to make a treasure token.
Great.
Or you can pay 5, tap, sacrifice 10 treasures, and create the Balrog.
Game. Oh.
And I was going to say create the Balrog.
Yes.
Which is like, it's like some absolutely absurd creature. It's like a 12/12 haste, trample, indestructible.
We should have been on this set for design.
We really should have been. I'm just saying.
These ideas are really good.
Like, those 2 cards should be in this set.
They should be in the set. No questions asked. The Balrog, made from Mines of Moria, sacking your treasures, and you get a sweet, whatever, 2020 flying Balrog.
Exactly. It's like a big flying trample fire monster.
I love it because it reminds me of, Awakening. Who am I thinking of?
Thing in the Ice?
Merit Lage.
Yeah, Merit Lage. Yeah, it is very Merit Lage.
Merit Lage.
Or Westvale Abbey and the demon that was on the other side.
Right, exactly. So I think these are really solid ideas. So Wizards from the Past.
Forge? I swear. Forge. I'm like, I actually feel very cool. Good about that mechanic, and it should frickin' exist.
You know what? And it's even better in this set. Like, you could put it in another set, but it makes way more sense for it to be in this set.
Sick, like, legendary equipment that goes with these creatures.
Yes, and there are already legendary equipments in these books, right?
Exactly.
They have names and...
Yes.
Anyway, you get it. You get it, listener. You get it.
You get it.
If you want to make your own Lord of the Rings card, please do so and tweet us at GLHF Magic or put it in our Discord for our patrons because we'd love to see some.
We want to hear
what what is going to be in the set.
What's going to be in the set?
This is obviously
because we obviously just made 4 things that are going to be in the set.
It's hammer time on Good Luck High Five.
Ooh, yeah.
You don't have to wear your hammer pants.
But you certainly can if you want to.
You can. We're not the boss of you. We know that there's not
nearly enough opportunities these days.
There were so many opportunities in the 80s, and now...
So many? Now they all dried up.
They all dried up. But guess what? You can go into your closet, put them on. You don't need to, but you can.
And then you can stay in your closet and wear them in there by yourself.
Where no one can see you.
Sitting there on your own.
In your hammer pants.
In your hammer pants. Just listening to this podcast, okay? Have a nice day.
You know who will have a nice day? We will once we have the bands next week.
Ooh, yes. Okay. So, Maria, tell me a little bit about this new band philosophy that they're talking about.
Yeah. So, this is information that we got on Weekly MTG last week. So, to remind you, everybody, we are moving from a 2-year rotation of Standard to a 3-year rotation of Standard.
Yeah.
It'll trigger in the fall with the release of the new big fall set, but not this fall because we got to get on track.
So, yeah, this fall will trigger the non-rotation of all sets.
That's exactly for the one time. And then next fall, it will happen when we're on the 3-year system.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen, though, normally in that fall slot is not only our rotation triggering from the 3-year situation we're on.
Yeah.
But also
the 3-year situation.
Also, a banned and restricted announcement. Wizards of the Coast is planning to do a big yearly ban fest. I don't know what you want to call it. Everyone's going to come.
Warped Tour Ban Fest.
Warped Tour. It's a Lollapalooza of bands.
Yes.
And you can come in your concert gear, get your glow sticks out, and
It's
get
a real
ready to
Coachella of getting rid of cards.
Like, the main stage act is Fable of the Mirror Breaker getting torn in half. They're going to do it once a year, big chunk in the fall. And that's just going to be a standing event. However, they realize that might not always get everything right.
Yeah.
So what they're also going to do is do mini bans, which are emergency mini bans, which will occur 3 weeks after the release of a new set.
Interesting.
And they expect that emergency ban to catch really problematic stuff that's fairly obvious.
For instance, Oko, comma, companions,
etc.
What a wild time that was. So, yeah, we are just kind of thinking ahead now because obviously we would have to wait until Wilds of Eldraine, usually, to have a ban announcement. But they are giving us a ban announcement next week.
Yes, they're doing one early this time around. Coming up next Monday is a ban announcement where it's widely expected that Fable of the Mirror Breaker will be banned in Standard.
Yes.
But I have a bigger overarching question for you.
Okay.
Before we talk about that, which is, how do you feel about the announcement of Standard being 3 years, which we talked about more last week, with the now knowledge that the bans are gonna basically exist one time a year unless there's a huge issue.
Unless there's a huge issue.
Yeah.
I think that, gosh, let me think about this.
Okay.
It is curious to me that they are putting the bans at the same time as a new set comes out, because it's like, oh, wouldn't you already expect if something has been established that the new set is already going to shake it up? And so I wonder, why not have the ban announcements come, like, what if you split it into 2 chunks? It's like, okay, rotation is every fall, BNR is every spring.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because then you could be like, hey, if something has been happening for 6 months and it's bothering people, like, it's not companion level problematic, it's not Oko level problematic, so it doesn't justify using that, like, emergency 3-week period.
Yeah.
But it is, people are just like, I'm tired of, like, we're tired of this.
Yeah.
Why not use that? Because you're already expecting the fall set to shake things up.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. That's interesting, though.
I think that they announced this a little bit more, and they talked with this of, like, the philosophy, especially with Wilds of Eldraine.
Right.
Being like having some bands that will let that set shine because it
not designed.
It wasn't designed with the 3-year rotation in mind.
Yeah.
So, like, we want to make sure that it's not overshadowed by some of the stuff that came before it that we were expecting to not be there anymore.
Yeah, right.
And so I wonder if that kind of influenced their philosophy of, oh, we should have the bands happen at the same time. They're being like, oh, we're thinking, hey, this new set will come out. We'll ban stuff to make sure that the new set gets to, like, have an impact and really show off.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, we need to have a ban window that's about the health of the format, which would maybe come at a different midpoint.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think you might be right.
That's my gut instinct.
I was also likewise surprised by the fact that the bans were scheduled, essentially.
Yes.
I understand, I think, why, because I think their feeling is the reason we want to push Standard to 3 years instead of 2 is to give people more time to play with their cards, one of the reasons. And I think people would be less likely to be afraid of that if they know that a ban is a scheduled thing and not something that's just going to hit them out of the blue and now they can't play their favorite deck anymore.
Yeah.
However, it just makes me slightly nervous that we might have to wait too long to deal with something that's a problem. But hopefully we'll know within that 3-week window.
Right? Like, Fable of the Mirror Breaker is annoying enough that we're, fingers crossed, going to see it banned next week.
Right, exactly.
And you're telling me that in this future world, we would have to wait 3 more months. Wait, June, July, August, like 4 more months?
4 more months.
I am not enjoying playing Standard right now, which honestly, before this, like, enormous chunk of, like, Rakdos dominant decks hit, I was having a pretty good time.
Yeah.
And now I have not, because every single opponent plays a turn 2, like, what's his
Blood Tithe Harvester?
Blood Tithe Harvester into, you know, like, into
Fable?
Into Fable or Reckoner Bankbuster into Shieldred.
Sure.
And it's every time into Invoke Despair. Do you know what? I would not be mad to see Invoke Despair go to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question. What happens in a fableless world?
Yeah.
What stories do we tell ourselves when we have no fables left to tell?
I don't mind not having that fable anymore.
That's deep for you right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, yeah, my question is, do you think it will be just Fable? What's your take on that?
Oh, wow.
Are you seeing them go just like straight for the money?
Well, I think that in the past few times that we've had a BNR announcement, they've been very conservative with it, which I think they should be under their current standard 2-year rotation philosophy. I think Reckoner Bankbuster is a really good option. It's colorless. It goes in a bunch of decks, and it is everywhere. Let me think for a second. Invoke Despair is pretty annoying. Is it just going to take over? Are we just going to see mostly mono black?
Like mono black
taking over? Because mono black was a deck in standard already.
Yeah. Although not dominant the way Rakdos was, so.
That's true. So maybe it'll still be okay.
Yeah. Okay. As much as I am just personally peeved with Invoke Despair right now, Despair, it makes me angry.
What? I love it.
I think that my actual gut feeling on this is that they will ban only Fable.
Okay.
Right now, because like you said, they're a little bit more conservative. They'll be like, if we just take out the card that is represented in like every stinking deck.
Every deck that
exists right now. What will happen? Because they know that they've teed themselves up to have the ban announcement with Wilds.
Yes, I agree.
So I do think that I could see them just being Fable right now and then saying, well, we can table these other ones, see what happens to the format with Fable gone. And if Invoke Despair is still a problem, or if, maybe Shieldred the Apocalypse is still a problem,
we address it in
September. We ban it when we said that we're going to have this big annual ban.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to think about. It's an interesting thought experiment because Fable of the Mirror Breaker, I don't think that's a card that would have flagged as, oof, we need to ban this 3 weeks after the set is released. Definitely not.
No, right? Like, it's good, but it's not... Like, it is aggravatingly good in the way that it is just so useful.
Yes, and it just goes in every deck.
So useful, but it's not, you don't look at it, and even in the early days of people playing it, it wasn't like, oh, this card is, like, just OP.
Yeah.
No.
You know what? It just makes me feel for a game that has to make paper cards.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, because how easy would life be, if you're thinking about, if Magic was just digital, we just change it, and then we're just
what if you just made it 4 mana?
There we go. Oh, you're trying. Oh, I see.
I'm saying, what if you made Fable of the Mirror Breaker 4 or 5 mana? It is not the same card.
Have they ever eroded a mana cost before?
But I'm just suggesting if that were to be the thing that happens, like, man, maybe in Alchemy they'll be like, it's still legal in Alchemy, but we're going to make it cost 5 mana.
It costs 5 now.
I don't think. I mean, I wonder what it would look like if it was 5 mana.
What if it was 4 mana?
Yeah.
Okay, Alchemy, you heard us.
Okay, here's my question though. I will contradict myself.
Ooh, all right, let's go. A self-argument.
Meghan debates Meghan. Okay, so I gave an argument for they only ban Fable.
Yes.
Here's my argument for them banning more.
Okay, let's go.
Is if they ban Fable and they ban Invoke, and they're like, we want to really clean up this problem. We want to really clean up this super fun site. That's mean. Companions were a super fun site. This is merely an Exxon Valdez oil spill. Why am I using environmental disasters? I don't know. Anyways, and they're like, we need to clean this whole thing up to see if there's going to be a different problem hidden underneath.
Oh,
what if this problem is so big?
It makes another problem.
It's hiding a smaller problem.
Oh my God.
And so they need to peel away the big problem to find the small problem so that they can ban that problem in the fall.
Wow.
Like if they're really...
And then under that problem was an even smaller problem.
It's a nesting dolls of problem. I don't know. I don't think that that's the case. But I'm saying, like, if your worry in this instance is letting Wilds of Eldraine shine, you do want to be like, let's make, like, what does it look like if we make the healthiest, like, least oppressive format that we can right off the bat? We need to get rid of both these things so we can find out if there's something else that's a problem.
I mean, this is like one of the... Geez, once you start to take out one Jenga block, the whole tower has a real chance of falling down.
That is the way the game Jenga works.
Like... That's the way way game Jenga works, but it's also like printing a card set is kind of like you've made the perfect puzzle. Can you take out one piece and have the rest of it stand on its own, or are you going to make a disaster?
Or is it going to fall apart?
And I mean, who knows? There's always the chance that you disaster by inadvertently.
Yeah.
Taking out a fable and then all of a sudden you've ruined everything ever.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Oh, man.
But we will let you know what happens with the bans come on Monday with the upkeep.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see some other stuff shine.
Me too.
I've been really enjoying playing like the 5-color ramp deck. It's so fun.
That is a very fun deck.
It's so much fun to play. I look forward to like seeing a little bit more of like the iterations. We got to see Autumn Burchett played like the Orzhov mid-range kind of spin on mono white mid-range.
Don't want to see more of that.
No, I know you don't, but I would like to. That's my hot take.
But I would like to see more soldiers.
That could be a thing once there's not so like if red black isn't so dominant.
Okay, so that's what. Yeah, I would definitely look forward to playing some soldiers in standard. I think that'd be very cool.
Pretty cool.
We'll find out what happens next Monday, everybody. And we'll be here with you, holding your little paws on Good Luck High Five coming that Tuesday.
Hold your paws.
Holding your little paws for that. And, of course, the big Lord of the Rings announcement.
Yeah.
The official kickoff of that set coming up.
All right, Maria.
Yes.
It's time for a little flavor text theater.
Let's get in there.
March of Machine Boosty.
We are cracking a March of the Machine booster, and we are going to take out some cards and pitch you some movies based on the titles of the cards that we randomly open. Doing this off the top of our heads, by the way.
Yeah.
And we've made some true bangers over the years.
We have some... Here we have some double face cards.
Okay.
There's Etherblade Agent and Invasion of Eldraine.
Wow. Yeah. I don't like that one that I just drew. Okay, I'll do this one.
All right, let's hear it.
So my movie is think about this. All right, imagine this. Hold on, I really have to think about it for like one more second.
Okay.
To really get there.
Okay.
All right. So what's happening is there's a son of an oil baron. Okay.
Okay. I'm into this.
Yeah. And it's like classic, rich boy syndrome. He's a playboy. He's a little Batman-esque. Drives around in a fast car. Goes to lots of parties because he's got all that sick oil money.
Yeah.
And what does a boy like that do? Well, I'll tell you. He starts a podcast. Because
yes, he does.
He thinks that everybody wants to hear his thoughts about his oil life, and about oil, and and he has one, and he pays for it with
hashtag oil life,
with his oil money, and it's wildly successful, and it's popping off. And then one day, I think this is sparked by you talking about environmental disasters. Yeah, there's an environmental disaster from his oil.
Gasp.
It coat birds. And
no.
I know. Don't worry, they all get saved in the movie. Good. But it's still a PR nightmare for him and his oil fields and his oil podcast, quite honestly. Because people are calling in, they're like, hey, we thought you were cool, but now we're like, you're just a jerk who gets birds covered in oil. We don't like you anymore. And he stops getting invited to the cool parties. Yeah. He has to sell his car. Wow. The oil field shuts down.
If only an oil field shut down every time birds got oil on them. That's how you know this movie is fiction.
It's a fiction. He loses everything in the oil disaster, and he is like living like a sad hermit in a hut. And I don't know what's gonna happen, where this is going, but he gets one day. Someone calls on him and they need his help for something oil related. And they're like, we need your help. And he's like, you don't need my help. The world's been oil free for 300 years. That's not what it is. But people have stopped using oil in this fantasy world.
Yeah.
And he has to go to this local college and like inform the entire university system about how oil works, because that's the only thing that will save them from some kind of, I don't know, alien invasion or whatever.
Big Oil paid for this movie.
They did, because they're trying to get their reputation.
They're trying to get it back. They're like, oh, look, if oil goes away, there will someday be a disaster
where you will wish you had that oil.
That only oil can solve.
And in this disaster movie, oil saves the day. But he doesn't go back to being an oil field baron. He likes his job as a professor at the local college in tenured oil caster.
Wow, what a journey he went on.
That movie is horrendous. Do not see it.
Big Oil's paying for that.
I really want to know what he talked about on his oil podcast.
On his oil podcast. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Oilcast.
God,
Okay.
there probably is an oil podcast. Like, I'm sure Exxon has one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, Maria,
Okay.
Fast 10 is about to come out.
Okay.
But I'm going to pitch you
Ooh.
Fast 11.
Oh,
all
good.
right?
I'm glad they're not ending the franchise.
No,
I was so
of course
worried.
they're not. But in Fast 11, they all die in an accident at the very beginning.
Oh.
And they go down to hell.
That is truly the only way this movie's franchise can keep
where they
upping
challenge
itself.
the devil himself
To a race?
to a street race, where the winner gets to go to heaven. Okay, and
I'm in. You crazy cats, I'm in.
so they drive a street race against
Through
the
hell.
devil through hell.
Great.
And they find out that the nitrous oxide boost, the NOS boost, at the end can, in fact, the NOS boosts in hell are so potent
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
that they can hit an up ramp and boost
All the way to heaven.
and boost through to heaven.
I swear to God.
In Fast 10, aerial boost.
Fast 11.
Fast 11, aerial boost.
I swear to God.
Tell me that that's not going to be a
I
Fast
swear to
and the
God,
Furious
that
film.
is exactly what they're going to do. Because you know they can't stop at 10.
No.
There's no way. Vin Diesel's going to be like, oh, yeah, I can stop at 10. It's fine. And then, then
Vin
that itch will
Diesel's
start
gonna
to
be
scratch.
75 and making Fast and Furious movies, and I'll be watching them.
You know he's coming back. Okay, that one's great. They're going to race the devil in hell. I love it. All right, this next movie is a rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
There's a woman. She was in the Fast 11 movie. Just kidding. It's a crossover. It's one of them.
Perfect.
In the race of the
Great.
devil. She gets into a severe car accident. Whatever. It doesn't have to be a crossover, but it could be.
Yeah.
It's up to you, studios. And she gets in a severe car accident, and the doctor's like, I'm sorry. We have to give you a new brain, you know?
Wow.
The rest of you is fine.
I feel like at that point, is the brain getting a new body? Okay. Anyway, sorry. Questions. Put my questions aside.
They talk about it in the
There's
film.
no room for real science here.
It's more like they have to graft another brain onto her brain.
Wow.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. I'm in.
To save her from her brain death or whatever. And she's like, well, how can this be? You know, like, but they're like, it's really hard to find a brain donor.
I can only imagine.
It's just hard to find a fresh brain out there that will match with your brain, because they have to like agree, they have to match, the brains do, otherwise it's not gonna be a successful brain graft. Anyway, so of course you already know what happens. She meets somebody, they fall in love, and it turns out that person also gets into some severe car accident and dies, but that their brain was the perfect brain graft for her brain. You know?
Wow. This is messed up.
So they do emergency surgery on this guy, and they take off his brain, and they're like, all right, we found your brain. And she's like, oh my, I'm so excited. Who is it from? And they're like, it's from this guy, you know, that you were dating. And she's like,
Gasp.
I can't. We were partners, but what would it be like if we were literally the same brain? I don't know if I could handle that. And they're like, well, do you want to die, or do you want to be brain grafted? She's like, all right, I'll take the graft. And so her mind and his mind meld into one brain.
This movie is getting made.
In like a really bizarre romantic comedy in Meeting of Minds.
Yes. I heard Jennifer Lawrence is already on.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence has signed for this.
She's on that project.
I was like, it could go a number of different ways. Like, you could have had a horrible, like, nasty breakup, and do you still want the mind? And then they make up once their brains are grafted.
I love, like, they're in love, though.
Yeah. And then you're like, how deep does the love go?
Yeah.
Can you have them in your mind constantly? Because they are your mind.
Yeah.
Meeting of Minds, Jennifer Lawrence stars. Also, I don't know, Bradley Cooper probably.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I take you to a far future world. It's a desert.
Great.
And there's been no rain for nobody, like in recent memory, in like long memory. No one can remember the last time that it rained. And humanity in general, like, lives underground in caves and places where it's still damp.
Is it still damp down there?
Yes,
Okay,
it's still damp
okay.
down there. But unfortunately, there's a rising tide underground that's going to push them out, and it's salt water, so it's not even solving the problem. Like there's rising salt water in the caves, and they're going to have to move above ground.
Oh no!
But there's no way that they can. It's a desert up there.
Yeah.
And so one woman is like, "Do you know what? I'm going to go, and this can't be the only place, right? There must be other humanity out there somewhere." So she goes on, a journey, and she finds an oasis, and there's only one other person in the oasis, and she's like, I built this oasis. Like the one person who's there is like, I built this oasis, right? Because I have the power to call water, but I can only call so much of it. It's just right here. And the person who's there is like, that's not good enough. Like humanity is counting on you. And so they go on a long journey to help her unlock her power and to create
the world.
to bring rain back to the world,
Wow.
which she eventually does in a glistening deluge.
Wow, that's great. Very kind of Mad Max vibes, but not
exactly.
But only the world, not the society.
It's more hopeful
yes.
than Mad Max.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've got a movie here that is a dystopia classic. It's in the far future. We'll set it, there's also no rain on this planet, just for fun. And in this future, knowledge is illegal.
This is the most classic freaking dystopia. Yeah. Like you just are like a generic man who like walks into a pitch meeting with a dystopia pitch.
Yeah.
Hear me out. Knowledge is forbidden.
In a world where knowledge is illegal. Not only is it illegal, but if you ever have any knowledge, you have to burn it.
Wow.
Like, if you find a book, if you think a knowledgeable thought, you have to write it down
and burn it
and put it. And there's specific like keepers. They're called furnace keepers, and they are the keepers of where you have to go and burn things. So they stand in front of these big things, and you literally have to burn your thoughts and ideas and knowledge, and they guard it.
Yeah.
And anyway, one day, one of these furnace keepers, or hosts, if you will, was standing in front of one, and a young boy comes to burn a thought, and this is the last straw for that furnace host. He's like, there's no way. Like, I can't watch one more person throw one more knowledge away. Yeah. And maybe it's something like from his past or whatever he recognizes in this young boy. But instead of letting him burn his thought, he gives him an iPhone charger. Because like iPhones are still around, they haven't been used because they are, knowledge centers.
They
are still connected to the internet, which somehow still functions.
Wow.
And he's like, take this, plug it in iPhone, and learn. This is a commercial for Apple.
This is a commercial for Apple.
It could be any cell phone. It could be a laptop. I don't care. This kid gets access to the internet and is the only person in the society and has to figure out how to disseminate this knowledge and use it without being tracked down by the fire bearers in Furnace Host Charger.
I knew it.
The charger was the key, though. You can't use a phone if it's not charged.
Yeah. I also have a tech-centric one. It turns out that in the world, there is one database that has been created that holds all knowledge. Everything has been backed up to this one server, this one processor. Exactly. And holding all of that spawns it to life. It sparks.
Oh, it sparks.
It sparks to life.
Sentience.
And it pulls together everything that it's made of and creates its own towering giant.
Wow.
Right, of technology that storms the world and causes havoc in bloated processor.
Wow, we made some really great movies today.
Look, I'm really looking forward to seeing the Fast and the Furious that takes place in hell.
I personally am really looking forward to Meeting of the Minds starring J-Lo.
Yeah.
J-Law, rather. J-Lo can be in it if she wants. I let her be in it.
Yeah.
I'm not too picky. And also Tenured Oilcaster, which is shown on weeknights on TNT.
Big Oil's got to get its reputation back somehow.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for this episode of Good Luck High Five.
Yeah.
Not only did we pitch you some amazing movies, we also pitched you some amazing designs, which if they aren't in Lord of the Rings, we'll be personally furious. We will be insulted.
Come on!
We're going to find out if we're right next episode.
Just gifting you solid gold.
I mean, honestly, you should come back for that episode, if only to hear us inflict our rage upon the cards, which have not yet been shown to us. So thanks for coming along for this wild ride. That was this episode.
Yeah.
Thank you to Crystal and Giant for how they were now be known for into eternity, for supporting us on patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who is a patron. Consider, if you're able, becoming a patron during the summer months. It is a very slow time for us generally.
Yes.
So if you're at all able to, we really doubly appreciate it in this stretch of the summer.
Yeah, your summer dollar goes twice as far, honestly, on Patreon. If you want to become a patron, we'll dedicate the next episode to you. We'd love to have you in our Patreon Discord. It's just a great time all around. Thanks again to Card Kingdom, who one day will have another sale. And
yes,
we'll tell you about
any
it
day now.
before it happens.
Or potentially after again, just to reconvince you that you should be visiting the website regularly.
You can find them at cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. Very excited for when we see our card designs pop up next week.
See you next week to talk about that sweet, sweet Lord of the Rings and that sweet, sweet ban list.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot to cover.